This is Believe in Buckeyes. I'm Brian Browning with All-American cornerback Chimdi Chekwa. This show is brought to you guys by FanDuel. And Chim had homecoming. We had a night game. We had the Golden Gophers come to the shoe. We took care of business, man. 42-3, man. What you think about that game?
Another a good game. I had another wedding this weekend. So.
Oh man, what's going on, man?
Two back to back, man. Two weekends in a row. That these people getting married don't really respect college football the way that they should. But shout out to them. I watched the game while at the reception, so I didn't miss it, and it was a good showing by Ohio State again. Defensively, just continue to really show that they are probably the best defense in the country. And then offensively, kind of opened up the passing game, throwing some deep balls. Before we even talk about Ohio State, Minnesota defensively, I was a little disappointed.
I was puzzled. Yeah.
It just seemed, and I can understand being overmatched, but it's like, man, they started off trying to go man-to-man, single high safety, stop the run. And it's like, man, do you not know the scouting report with these guys? Do you not know the scouting report? So
no, man, it's funny that you say that because I was thinking the same. So I'm like, they probably overanalyze it. Like, okay, well, everybody know they got these weapons on the outside, and everybody has done everything to stop these weapons on the outside. We're gonna do the opposite. And we're going to stop the stuff and we're going to stop the run and be tough in the middle. And let's see if the quarterback can actually get these guys the ball. And Julian saying proved that, yes, he can actually get his guys the ball, leaving those guys one-on-one against Jeremiah Smith in the red zone. One-on-one with Carnell Tate. I mean, it was a star showing. And I mean, it was a good game, man. Julian saying went 23-27, 326 yards. I believe this is his first time in the 300 range. Three touchdowns, no interceptions. He carved those boys up.
Yeah, he carved them up. It was interesting because they run hitches and slants and RPO slants, and it'll feel like those was wide open. And then they run a go route, and it feels like those was wide open. And I'm thinking like they're not covering the short passes. They can't cover the deep passes. They might as well just sit down. The DBs, they might as well just sit down and just let it just be routes on air. But it was a good showing by saying, man, Carnell Tate, the way he runs those routes, and I want to kind of paint the picture because as a corner, right, Carnell Tate, when he had two deep passes that he caught, and they were both go routes. But the way he ran it, he's attacking the inside shoulder. So if you never played defensive back, right? When you run cover 3 or cover one, there's a safety in the middle of the field, right? So you kind of protected on the deep post. But when a receiver is attacking your inside shoulder and you got that safety in the middle of the field, you feel confident. I know I could stay outside and allow him to run the post because they're not throwing the post. There's a guy sitting right in the middle specifically to stop that deep inside route. So he has to be running something short. If he's attacking my inside and he can't run the post, he's running the dig, or he's running the curl, or he's running the hitch. He's running something else. Carnell Tate was attacking their inside shoulder, but then running the go route. So these guys were getting frozen because they're thinking he's about to sit it down, but he just never sits it down. And the reality is every receiver doesn't have the ability to do it. Like every receiver can't go inside and still have the speed and agility to take that thing outside and then beat you by 5 yards. And Carnell Tate showed that he can. And, man, it was a clinic out there on the outside. Yeah. The way they was running, everything they ran was wide open. And then, even in the run game was pretty decent, even though they were stacking the box trying to stop the run as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, I think it was a career day for Carnell Tate. 9 receptions, 183 yards. He was averaging 20 yards a catch and a long for the day at 49. Jeremiah Smith had a decent day as well. 7 catches, 2 touchdowns, 7 yards. But, I mean, I get right to it. My Buckeyes going to Carnell Tate, right? Because, obviously, the career day, simple to get him that honor for the week. But I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit more of that. Obviously, we know what type of talent Carnell Tate has been, right? So even when I watched him make all those plays on Saturday, I wasn't really surprised. I was like, yeah, that's what he do. But I think it means a little bit more because, Ohio State kind of got a streak going on, with first-round draft pick wide receivers, and basically every Saturday the Buckeyes perform on the field. Every Sunday our former wide receivers are performing on Sundays in the NFL. And, it kind of like, well, we know Carnell Tate is good, but we know, will he ever get that notch to be that first-round pick if he never had the stats to kind of show he can make those plays? So a day like this past Saturday just kind of goes to that, helping out, and his story of like, we know he's capable. We see his size, we see his speed and the things he could do. But now to kind of put it on tape, put it on film, and making some of those big catches would certainly help him out when it comes to the draft next year, right? You would think.
Yeah, for sure. It should help him out, being able to have a few games because it's hard to spread the ball around to everybody. Right? You got probably the best player in college football, or for sure the best offensive player in college football, and Jeremiah Smith on the other side. You want to utilize that to make sure that you're utilizing a weapon of his caliber, but then you got another guy on the other side. At what point does he get the opportunities to show what he can do? And, this is one of those games where it's a Carnell Tate game. And the other element, and Coach Day talked a little bit about it post-game, and how, because they have a really good defense, they're able to kind of bring the quarterback along. They don't have to give him everything up front. They don't have to, try to create all these explosive passes and everything up front. They can run the ball. They can slow the game down. They can, shorten the times of possessions, et cetera, and continue to have him develop during the season so that they're ready towards the end of the season to really go and make that type of run. When you're doing all those things and you got a guy like Carnell Tate, who's technically the second, target from a receiver standpoint, you don't get all of the opportunities that you could potentially get because they're not forcing him the ball. But, man, when the team comes out there and says, look, we're going to try to stop the run. And, hey, safety, lean to Jeremiah Smith's side because he's one of the best players in college football. Hey, guess what, corner on the other side? Yeah, barbecue chicken over there, man. It was too easy for him. So shout out to him. On the flip side, the defense.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? Bryant here. Chim, you got something for the people?
Yeah, we're promoting the Coach Tressel Fitness Challenge, and along those same lines, we're promoting health. And one way to do that is to make sure that you have strong immune systems.
That's why we'd like to announce our partnership with BioMade Vitamins. BioMade offers immediate support and long-term immunity training.
And, I take BioMade, and what I like about it is vitamins for the entire family. So you take it all together, clean ingredients, traceable ingredients, so you know exactly what's in it. And it provides that long-term immunity training to really support health.
And that means less downtime and more showtime. And we all know in the game of football and also in the game of life, your best ability is availability.
So here's the play. Go to BioMade.com. That's BYMAE.com, and use the code Buckeyes for your first order. You get a discount. It'll help train your immune system just like we train.
That's right. 50% off. Yeah, the defense, man. 3 points. I think for the season, we have given up, 25 points for the season, something ridiculous like that. Minnesota came out. They had a good game plan, right? They had a nice first drive. They got right down the field. They were executing. I don't know how many plays that drive was, but it was, wasn't a big play. They put a drive together. They get down the red zone. They get stopped. They get their field goal. They get their 3. And then that's essentially, that's the end of the night. That's the end of the night for Minnesota when it came to the offense side of the ball, man. So, you want to give out a Buckeye over there? What you thinking?
Yeah.
Man? Listen,
yeah. Yeah, and, when you have a defense playing this good, it's hard to single guys out a lot of times to give them Buckeyes. But I'm going to give a Buckeye to – I'm going to cheat a little bit, man. I'm going to give the Buckeye to the Styles brothers, man. Lorenzo Styles and Sonny Styles, that game came up together. Maybe they shared a room at some point. I don't know. But they're going to share a Buckeye today. Sonny Styles had a good day. I personally have been hyping up Arvell Reese all year. I've been talking about him for, I feel like 3 years now.
Yeah, all right.
And, Sonny Styles has been a kind of a staple of this defense for a few years. So, that needed to share that love to the other linebacker. But let's not forget about Sonny Styles, man. I think he might have led the team in tackles in this
Yep,
game.
Sunday did. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But a versatile linebacker, a guy who started playing safety and now moved to linebacker. And he's also the guy communicating and getting everybody in the right spot along with guys like Caleb Downs. So he carries a big burden. And, he's showing up. He went out there, made a lot of good plays. You see him being used in a lot of different ways defensively. And this is a defense that does a lot of things, and they've been executing it well. So shout out to Sonny Styles carrying that load of being the guy communicating the defense and doing all those things out there. And then Lorenzo Styles had a really good game, got his hands off some passes, made some tackles. Another guy that ends up in a lot of different places as a nickel corner. He lines up back at safety, etc. A very smart defensive player who also, I don't know if you guys see, he has like one of those arm braces on, which makes me think, he has to protect that shoulder and whatnot. And on special teams, they had some trickery, man. They had to, threw him a throwback. Lorenzo Styles, who was a former receiver at Notre Dame, caught the pass and got us an explosive play on special teams. So I give a Buckeye to Styles.
He got to get in the end zone next time, man.
He should have. But once you start playing defense, man, I know he's a former receiver.
You lose the wiggle.
Sometimes you lose a little bit of that, man. But shout out to him. But at the same time, man, it's just hard with this defense playing at the level that they're playing at. I feel like I got to give an honorary Buckeye to Matt Patricia.
Oh, yeah.
And, you look at Ohio State had the best defense in the country last year. Now, they had some games where they didn't perform to what they were, expected to. But when it comes down to it, across the board, and you take everything in totality of the season, they had the best defense in the country. Ohio State through, how many games are we through now? What?
5.
5 games. To me, this is a better defense than last year's defense. And
we lost 8 people off that defense, man. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, 8 people. Guys going to the NFL, and this is a better defense. And it's because of the ability to implement what I think is a very sophisticated but simple defense, right? A defense where, and you know this as offensive lineman, you got to identify where guys are coming from, what's happening, et cetera. That defensive front, they do a lot. They do a lot of different things that makes it really hard for the offense to understand who to block, how to block them, where guys are coming from. And it makes it really hard for the quarterback to know who's dropping the coverage, who's blitzing, et cetera. And Matt Patricia has been able to take the versatility, because we always had versatile defensive players, but we haven't always used them to their maximum capability. He's been able to take the versatility of a Sonny Styles, of a Arvell Reese, of a Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, and be able to move those guys around and do so much. Caleb Downs is an ultimate versatile guy who lines up 10, 15 yards off the ball as a middle field player and makes the stop for no gain in the run, right? He's been able to take that level of versatility and implement it into the defense so that those guys, it's still not, for them, it looks like it's simple because everybody's playing fast. Everybody's doing their responsibility quick. It doesn't look like they're thinking a lot, which in the past, we had Denzel come on here and say, there was some complications sometimes. A lot of guys didn't know exactly what they were doing. So shout out to Matt Patricia and being able to implement that defense and execute it so early in the season to where if he has anything else, I mean, the sky's the limit for what this defense could possibly do.
Yeah, and kudos to Matt Patricia. And I want to kind of speak a little bit about like the adjustments, right? After the game, they kind of started talking about, obviously, once again, Minnesota put together the first drive, right? They got down the field, they got 3 points. Good job for them. Previously, I know I don't want to talk so much about the last defensive coordinator, but usually those would kind of turn into a touchdown, and then maybe we'll kind of figure things out. That's how we kind of went after the Oregon game, right? But it usually took a while for us to make adjustments, and they kind of talk about in this game. Coach Day had mentioned that, after that first drive, they made some adjustments, and obviously they shut down Minnesota for the rest of the evening. And in the past, one of the biggest gripes we had as us being Buckeye fans, like how long it takes to get things fixed. Like something's an issue, You know, when a couple years ago with Coach Dan and his teams, if something was an issue, it took a whole off season for them to get that problem, right? Like, oh, they don't know how to play the pitch, play the crack, right? We played Oregon a handful of years ago and shit. They had no idea how to play the pitch, and it took a whole season and maybe a couple coaches changes for us to figure out how to get something fixed. And then last season, you know, obviously I would agree with number one defense of the nation. We had, you know, a lot of experience, a lot of really good players all over the place, and I played into it. But we recall the Oregon game, going out on the road, big game, you know, everyone's tuned in for it, and essentially no one knows what they're doing defensively. And we're watching the mistakes happen on the field. Like, man, like what that don't make any sense. Touchdown. This don't even make any sense. Touchdown. You know, and that stuff is just kind of going on. It takes a whole game. We lose the game. A game that we probably should have won. We should have won that Oregon game on the road last year. In a couple more seconds, we maybe do. A couple more seconds on the clock, maybe we do win it. But it's just a lot of mistakes. And then, you know, I think they make some changes, right? Coach Day said he's going to go in. I think we had a bye week after that. Then after that, we're pretty lights out for the year. Well, with Coach Patricia, he's in tune with his guys. Once again, we lost 8 guys. We got a lot of new people doing a lot of new things. But he goes out there, he could watch the drive and say, all right, we need to start doing this, this, and this. This is how they're attacking us. Let's shut it down. And they shut it down for the rest of the evening. So, I mean, that's just special in itself. But do you think that's a lot about the NFL, him coming from the NFL? Like, maybe college is easy for him? Or is it just, you know, a good guy with some good players and he just understand the beat of them and just know how to really get them guys to tick?
No, I do think it's a couple of things. I think his NFL experience is a big part of it, but it's not enough just to be an NFL coach. And he's not the first NFL defensive coordinator that's come to college, right?
Yeah. Right.
It's you do have to have the players to execute the offense, right? And I think one of the biggest, obviously Caleb Downs as a defensive back, and the defensive backs are great across the board. But I think one of the biggest advantages that Ohio State has is up front, the defensive ends, but those linebackers. I mean, talk about Sonny Styles, who plays safety. Whether you think he should have been a linebacker or whatever, you look at him physically, and he looks like a defensive end to me, right? He looks like he could line up and put his hand in the dirt. But the guy came in as a safety. He was a DB, right? So his versatility, he could walk up into a gap and blitz. He could walk up into the gap, and they're like, oh, he's coming, and then drop out in coverage. He could walk up into a gap and then go play man-to-man on the tight end or the running back. Oliver Reese is the same way. And if you watch Oliver Reese throughout the game, he'll walk up, and he'll blitz, and he'll beat the guy, or he'll knock the guy back. The next time he walks up, that offensive lineman is thinking, man, if he blitzes, I need to be like he's trying to figure out how I'm going to block this guy. Right. And then Oliver Reese drops out. He's guarding the running back on that play, on this play. Or he's a spy on the quarterback.
On the quarterback, right.
Or he's dropping in coverage. Or he's playing the tight end man-to-man, and somebody else is coming. Caden Curry goes from being a defensive end to lining up over the center.
Yeah.
And is beating those guys. And offensively, it's just like these guys not only are kind of confusing us, when they go fast. Like, they're a problem. But they're a problem in multiple positions. And then the quarterback, these guys are dropping in coverage. And he can't even, it's so hard to account for a guy who's on the line all the time, who's also robbing his inside route. And then I think one of the biggest things Matt Patricia does, you talk about adjustments. You watched in the first quarter, Minnesota had a well-scripted offense for that first drive. They had a plan. They executed the plan. It was still pretty good defense, but it was better offense. It's like, okay, we're not going to just keep doing it because it was good defense and they made plays. No, we're going to take away what they're doing best. So we're going to take Caleb Downs, and he's going to be a robber. We're playing man-to-man. You guys got outside leverage. Go ahead and funnel those guys inside and let Caleb and whoever else go rob these inside routes that they have found some success in. Even the third down where it was incomplete, the guy was actually, open. If he caught the ball, that could have been a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to allow that again. All right, we're gonna rob all these things on the inside, and they do it, and they get the stops. But they don't stop there on defense. They come out at halftime and they just add another element of adjustment. And as an offense, you don't know what to do, right? Because you went into halftime and said, okay, we had a good early drive. they made some adjustments. They took this away. Let's come out and do this. And when you come out, they made more adjustments. And I think that just speaks to the level of intelligence he has as a defensive coordinator and the amount of tools he has in his toolbox to say, okay, I got some talented players and I know enough football that I can use all these different tools, but it still not be complex for the players. That's the thing that's most impressive to me is that it's not so complex. It's complex for the offense,
Yep.
but it's not complex for the players. That they can do all these things and they can execute it well and play fast and feel like they just out there having fun.
Yeah, right. So we got some news on our defense. Obviously, it was an announcement made today that a couple of our defenders are going to sit out for the. And it's get weird, but what we got today is they're gonna sit out for right now. They're gonna redshirt for the season, and that being C.J. Hicks, the linebacker, former 5-star linebacker who moved his position to defensive end for the season, and then also the junior Malik Harford decided they're gonna use a red shirt because I guess quickly. What's your thoughts on that? Those guys redshirting. But it appears right now, I think we might get a little bit more in a week about exactly what's going on with them. But it appears right now that they're going to stay at Ohio State, but they're going to maybe elect a red shirt and kind of, sit out for the season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that could make sense. Is that they're kind of buried a little bit on the depth chart. If they redshirt for the year, they get another 2 more years to play potentially or whatever.
At least another year for CJ. Yeah, CJ is technically a senior. Yep.
Yeah, 1 more year eligibility for CJ. To me, when a guy is sitting out for the year, it feels like they're preparing the redshirt. I mean, they're preparing the transfer. They're holding that year eligibility so that they can go somewhere else and finish their career. The likelihood that you sit out as a veteran per se in college and come back and have to compete again for an opportunity to play, and then what happens next year if you get beat out? You know what I'm saying? Do you redshirt again? Like it just feels like they're likely transfers, and obviously that's not what was reported, so I don't know that for sure. But it seems like their career at Ohio State is likely done. They stayed, they stuck around, they competed, they tried to make it happen, and they just didn't get it there. That doesn't mean it's over for them, but it feels like it's over at Ohio State, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, obviously we'll get more information, and we're speculating at this point, but I don't know. I think these guys are gonna stay, man. I'm always on the bright side thing. I think they're gonna stay, man. But you think about it like this. Now, like you say, like obviously defense is playing well, they're playing fast, they're playing good, and CJ Higgs is in a position where now we got some depth, right? We got KJ, we got Caden Curry, we got Bo Atkinson coming over in the transfer portal. We also had the Logan George transfer that came in. Then we got some young guys that might need to get some reps just so they can get out there and kind of get that feeling as he did when he was young, right? Kind of just throw out there and just let the guy go and see how it goes. And obviously some guys got the defense, they're playing fast, they're playing well, but maybe they didn't. Right? Maybe CJ and Malik, maybe it's taking them a little bit longer to kind of understand how to play their role into this defense. So they say, hey, let me just put a pin in it, sit out, don't, obviously everyone goal is to make it to the NFL. Let me sit back and learn a little bit. Maybe he got a little nicked up or something. Maybe it's something they need to heal a little bit and they could just kind of take some time to do that. And then also with the new rule, I just read an article on this because I kind of forgot. But these guys are still can play in the playoffs. Right? you can redshirt the season, get to the playoffs and the postseason and play. I don't think it's a limit to it. Play how much you want to play and still be a part of the team. And then also if an injury happens, right? Let's say, obviously, it's football. Anything can always happen. But God forbid, our guys stay healthy. That's what we hope happens. But something might happen and I change, right? Someone goes down on the defensive line, like, look, you need some experience here. CJ, we need you to go, and you go out and finish the season, and you kind of put that film out there you expect to put out there, so you try to get yourself to the next level. Because obviously, CJ has made some plays already in the season, right? We had to make the play against Texas late, things of that nature. So, we'll see. Hopefully, I count on my guys to stay with us. I'm not gonna put them. I'm not even gonna speculate that's what's going on until they say different, man. So.
Listen, if a guy goes down and they redshirt and somebody else is going in, that somebody else is likely going to be the guy who plays next year. That's just the way I see it. But shout out to those guys, man. I wish the best for them. If they get an opportunity to play in the playoffs, I hope they contribute and tear it up. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but around college football, we got to just mention it, man. Obviously, we kind of hinted at it already, but Penn State loses to an 0-4 UCLA.
Yeah.
Coach, we looked at it for the game. Nico had, 128 rushing yards, threw for 166, 3 touchdowns on the ground, threw for 2. It wasn't the best day for Penn State and their defense and Jim knows, and obviously all the heat Coach Franklin takes, he will remain to take that.
I think that they got to turn the heat up now, because it used to be we only lose to the teams that are either evenly matched or we're a little bit of the underdog. Once they start losing to teams that don't belong on the same field as them, at least based on recent history and what UCLA has done, then it's a different level. And Jim knows in that defense. I tried to catch some of the highlights. I saw some of the plays that the defense gave up, and it just didn't seem like a lot of busted coverages or busted assignments. And that just goes back to
the Oregon game. Go back to the Oregon game? Oh, no, I think you were saying the Oregon game. Go
back. It's just the complexity of his defense. And, it just seems like he is a good defensive coordinator, but it just seems like his defensive philosophy doesn't fit some of these bigger schools with the talent as much as they fit like Oklahoma State. Because these guys are talented. You just need to have at some situations, you just need these guys to be able to play fast and do what they can do, because they are talented players, 5-star, 4-star players. So yeah, it's actually a mystery. Letdown against UCLA is a tough one. But they still got the talent.
They still got the talent. They got the talent, and we still got to play them. So obviously they got 2 losses now, so their hair is going to be on fire for the rest of the year. But I just had to say this one last point there. The offensive coordinator for UCLA, this is his first game ever calling plays at the college. First time ever. And they couldn't figure it out. He scored the Nittany Lions, man. But man, we're on the road this week, man. I think we're on the road for the rest of the month, actually. But we're on the road. We're going to Illinois. Illinois is currently number 22 in the nation. Lost a lot to Indiana, but they came right back, beat a USC, had a really good win against Purdue. So we'll be playing in Champaign, Illinois for the Illabuck Trophy?
The Illabuck Trophy.
Illabuck Trophy, man. So big up to our guys there. But that's our show for the week. When we can, we'll get a little bit more on Illinois, exactly what they like to do. We know they got a quarterback with some experience over there, and they have very high hopes this year. So they'll be ready for the Buckeyes coming in to town this weekend. Just continue to follow us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, as we bring you news of the Buckeyes, man. And shout out to Ohio State. I think they got that over from FanDuel, getting over that over. I think it was 44.5. We got 45, so we did that. I think we bet with Ohio State. You probably won some money this weekend, man. But continue to follow us. We're gonna end the show as always with a nice OH.
Ayo.
Go Bucks. Talk to you guys soon.